Hey guys, Dr. Jason Torado here. Just hanging out in my backyard this morning, just relaxing, taking it easy. Absolutely beautiful morning. So Monday morning, just getting started here, doing some writing inside my writing on Facebook. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about patient referrals. You know, a lot of times I'm inside these forums and I see that a lot of doctors talk about how they don't market their practice. They say, well, I don't have to market my practice. You know, I get patient referrals, and so I don't have to do any type of marketing. I don't have to rely on anything like that. And look, I agree that the best marketing is going to be word of mouth. You know, I believe that if you're looking to build authority in your area, then there's going to be no better way to build authority than word of mouth, right? Word of mouth advertising is very, very good. It's also the cheapest, right? But I have my reservations when it comes to thinking that that is the best way to be able to build authority and also to be able to market your practice. Don't get me wrong, I think referrals are great. They really are. Referrals are people that come in. Referrals are the best kind of patients a lot of times because they are referred by people that appreciate your services, that like your services, that know you're an authority, and then they refer like people. So they're basically qualified patients that have heard really good things about you from those people that have had really good experiences inside your offices, right? And with your treatment. It's also true that referrals help you position you as an expert in the chiropractic profession. But does that mean that your marketing should just be word of mouth marketing? No, it shouldn't be. And so as much as you want referrals and as great as they are, that should never be your focal point in building your practice, right? It's important, but it should not be your focal point. And the reason why it shouldn't be your focal point is because you don't really have a lot of control over your referrals. And because you don't have a lot of control over your referrals, it's not very scalable at all. And it's not a very reliable form of marketing. It's not a very reliable way to be able to build your practice. So think about it. Last week I had maybe 6 new patients that came in. And I mean, how many did you get last week? Or how many do you think you're going to get the following week? Well, if you relied just on referrals, you wouldn't really be able to control that. And even if you could control the amount of referrals that come into your practice, you're not going to be able to sustain that inside your business. So, but in my case, so I've been practicing for 30 years. I know that every single week I'm going to have a lot of referrals coming inside my office. I've got a very, very vast patient base that are happy with my services, that know, like, and love my services. And so they will refer their patients. And I know, for the most part, that I'm going to get a certain amount of referrals every single week. But I've been practicing for 30 years. I have a lot of happy customers. And if you have not been practicing for 20 years, then again, you're not going to have that referral base, and so that you cannot rely on just patient referrals coming inside your office. So the problem is that most practices, again, they can't position themselves that way. And so referrals also rely on people kind of hearing about you and how good you are. And so that's really the problem, because every other practice that's inside your area is probably thinking the exact same thing. So it's going to be harder to stand out inside your community. And so no matter how good you are inside your community or how great your services are, it's probably going to be other clinics out there that are either better than you or probably position themselves with more authority, or they just simply get better word of mouth advertising out there than you do. So, your practice is really one of many of the practices out there that people have heard really good things about. And so you don't really have control over that process. So the best thing that you can do is really, encourage a patient to recommend you. That's all you really can do when it comes to, or better yet, not just recommend you, but also give you a review. And even when you do something like that, there's really no guarantee that they're going to do something like that. So when it comes to referrals, right, if you're relying on just patient referrals to grow your practice, asking for patient referrals, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're just relying on that, then believe me, and if you're not practicing for 20 or 30 years, like myself, then you're probably going to have some difficulty, getting new business into your office. And because of that, you're going to need a more scalable marketing strategy. Because the bottom line is, waiting around inside your office for a referral to show up, that's not marketing, really. That's just wasting time. That's not smart. Right? So you've got to, again, in my situation, and so if there are other doctors out there, and a lot of times you go to seminars and you see other doctors that say, well, I get, 20, 30 referrals a month. But then you have to analyze that. Right? How long has that doctor been practicing? Does he have a patient base of 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 patients that he's seen over a number of years where with happy customers? And that's producing the referrals into his office. You see, if you don't have something like that, then you can't just rely on that as a source of new business inside your practice. You can build up to that, but you can't rely on something like that. So when you go to a seminar and you talk to those doctors that say, yeah, I'm an all referral practice. Okay, that's cool. But how long has that doctor been practicing, right? How long has he been practicing? If it's been a long time, great. But if that doctor has been practicing for less than 5 years, 10 years, and they say they're an all referral practice, and they say that they're getting, 20, 30 referrals every single month, like, that's highly suspect. It really is. You've got to take everything a doctor says with a grain of salt, because a lot of people try to embellish or try to exaggerate things. You have to be real with stuff like that. All right. So again, let me cut this short. The bottom line here is, if you don't have that patient base like other doctors do, then you can't rely on referrals, just patient referrals, as the way to build your practice. It could be part of your arsenal of marketing and a way of you getting new patients. But unless you've been practicing for a while and have a patient base, it's just not smart to just rely on patient referrals coming inside your office as a form of getting in new patients, because again, you don't have control over it, and it's very, very difficult to scale. All right, guys, that's it for today. I'll talk to you soon. I'm Dr. Tirado. I hope this makes sense to you guys. If it does, please share this with other chiropractors who really need help, because there certainly are a lot of chiropractors out there that need help. And there's a lot of doctors out, there's a lot of gurus, consultants out there. They're just giving bad information. And I'm not going to badmouth anybody, but they're just giving information that is not accurate. And it's creating a lot of confusion inside our profession. And so the easiest, you just want to be honest out there, and you want to be practical, right? Because that's the way you build a practice. There's a lot of confusion out there. There's a lot of wrong information. And you know what? You've got to filter it out. You really just have to filter out what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. And so when you're building your practice, I know it might be difficult to put yourself inside your patient's shoes, but try to think like a consumer. Really try to think like a consumer, and that'll help you try to see if what you're doing is correct inside your practice. Just let me give you an example. Patient comes in pain, and on your first day, you don't treat your patient. Now, I know I've been with so many practice gurus over the years, and so many practice gurus tell me don't adjust on the first visit. So I believe that this is an example of inaccurate information. If the patient comes to you the first day and they're in pain, well, then it's your job to help them, to get them out of pain. Why would you not treat them on their first visit? If I were a consumer and I went to a doctor and they didn't treat me on the first day or try to help relieve my pain, I probably wouldn't go back to that doctor. And I'm just looking at that as a consumer, just as a consumer, just a practical, thinking consumer, practical person. Right? I'm in pain. I'm going to pay you $200. I would like some kind of relief. Yet there's so many gurus out there that are telling you, don't adjust on the first visit. I mean, I think that's crazy. I believe that is not, I don't believe that's accurate information, right? Here's another example. I know so many years I went to practice management gurus, and they told me, when you do your report of findings, so-called report of findings, make sure that the spouse is there. I mean, come on, why are we really asking for that spouse to be there? We know why we're asking that spouse to be there, because we want them to accept our plan that we're going to give to them. But as a consumer, how does a consumer see that, right? They don't see that. I mean, they see that as you're realistically, if someone told me that, I would see right through something like that. I don't think that really makes sense, coming from a consumer perspective. And now, here I am years later, I can look back and I can say, okay, you know what? That was foolish for me to say stuff like that. So look, everybody practices their own way. I get it. There's no right way, there's no wrong way, but there are sensible ways, there are practical ways. And a lot of the information that we get from a lot of the gurus, the coaches, the consultants out there, it's just inaccurate information. So I tell you to please take everything with a grain of salt. Really, take everything with a grain of salt. I think that our profession should be thriving right now. I really do, especially after COVID. People haven't been touched in over a year, and we are a touchy profession, right? We are an intimate profession. And so that's what people are actually looking for. That's what people need. And that's the strength of chiropractic. And that's your strength, right? The fact that we can touch people and they are allowing us to touch them. And that's what they come to us for. And I believe that we should be excelling in practice. We should not be going down in practice. We should be seeing more people, making more money in our businesses, in our lives, and being happier in practice. And a lot of times that's not happening. And so, look, if that's happening to you, right? If you're not getting the results that you want, you have to look at your practice with a naked eye as a consumer and look at it and say, okay, what is it that I'm doing here that just doesn't make sense? Because building a practice really is very simple. It's very, very simple. There's 3 or 4 fundamentals that you have to be doing in your business. It's very, very simple. 3 or 4 fundamentals that you have to be doing inside your business in order to build your business. And these are fundamental steps that are common to every successful business, in building your business. Don't complicate things, guys. Practice is easy. Focus, sometimes you've got to focus on doing less rather than focus on doing more. All right, guys, that's it for today. If I could help you out in any way, message me below. Love to sit and chat with you to see whether or not I might be able to help you out with business. I'll talk to you soon, guys.